Next, we want to hear from some people who they couldn't get away from us if they tried because they're family. This is Roxane and James Bybee. So Natalie's sister is Roxane. And I just wanted them to speak to, now that Heather and Jared have addressed the question of why this business model, I want them to speak to why doTERRA. So Roxane, are you on?
I joined with James's video here. So technically I'm on, but you can't see me on the other one. So.
Oh, great. You're both here. We got a 2-for-1. Welcome, guys.
Well, yeah, sorry. If you just want one, I'm happy to go back.
Oh, no, more the merrier.
With the animals. No, I mean, I love that question, why doTERRA? Because I'm like, why do you want to do this? Like, what? doTERRA? Essential oils? That's kind of weird. And that's like, I know they're becoming a little more common, but still it's kind of weird, people. And why network marketing? Like a bunch of, I don't know how many of you are on this call are probably asking yourself the same thing. Like, why in the heck would I ever want to do that crazy thing called network marketing? It's like, why would you do that? I'm going to lose all of my family and my friends.
And my prestige.
Yeah, and my pride and all that stuff. Right? Well, I mean, I say all that because that's where we were at when we found doTERRA. So let me explain to you. We'll do it together, and we'll explain to you like how this time is. Wow, I love watching drive a car. That's fantastic. That's awesome. So I love how if we look at this current craziness, right? I call it the craziness because I just think it's crazy how it's all happening and how it's laid out and how we're responding to it and everything. For me, it's created just more of the awesomeness that I already had, which is being at home and even, I was already at home. So like now I get to be more at home and like, but not just me. It's like my kids are at home now too, right? Which is really why I took on this crazy thing. Remember, when I started doing this was back and I say I because Roxane took a little bit of time to join me in this. She wasn't quite desperate enough. I was desperate, right? 2008. What was going on in 2008, folks, right? Something similar to now. No pandemic, but still, major financial uncertainties, recession, like the one that's on its way now is supposed to be even bigger. And there was just lots of trauma in people's lives, both financially, emotionally. Things were so shifting for people. And we were one of those people, right? And I want to I'm going to just quickly give you a snapshot of that so you can understand why doTERRA, besides all the great reasons that the speakers have brought up so far. I mean, Heather did such a great job of showing you what this model can do, right? Now remember, it's just a vehicle. It all depends on you because we don't know what you can do, right? But the vehicle is perfect. It just needs your uniqueness to step into it. And I was hesitant, right? The vehicle shows up. It's my crazy sister-in-law. But back then, she knows I always throw her under the bus. But back then, I was like, I didn't know what the heck she thought she knew what she was talking about, right? And, a decade plus later, I've seen her genius emerge and seen the incredible things that she's been able to do. And the uniqueness that is in her, that really is in all of us, right? And so that vehicle can carry that. When it came along, I was like, no way. I'm not doing that. We tried that before, right? We did that before and it didn't work and it sucked and we lost friends and blah, blah, right?
We didn't try doTERRA before, but we tried another network marketing
there's
company.
Other network marketing, right? And so we were both just like, no way. I mean, Roxane, what was your opinion of network marketing at the time?
Well, we had different reasons. I don't know that we have different personalities. And one of my things is relationships. And, So I made a lot of friends in the network marketing company that we were in before. And so I didn't want to start a bunch of new relationships and then have it all crumble when we decided maybe we weren't going to do that anymore. So I was like, yeah, not doing that. No, thank you. And I was a zombie mentally at that point. Like if you're feeling zombie-ish or emotional paralysis, whatever the terminology might be from the COVID experience, this is the first time that I remember, like I'm having flashbacks of how I felt at that time. I was flatlined. I was literally flatlined. You could not get a pulse. It was like I was just the walking dead, you know, doing my job at night, all night working. And
So first of all, we were living in a van down by the river, right? Which is what I always like to say, because I kind of sometimes wish it was a van, because it probably would have been nicer than what we were living in. And it was so disgusting and trashy. So that just where we lived with 3 little boys. Now, thankfully, they were young enough. They didn't care, because there were critters to catch inside and out, right? And so for them, that was cool. Dad, look at that big bug. Does that belong in our house? Can I make it as a pet? Right. And so, you know, it was, and there's a video out there. You can Google James Bybee doTERRA and it'll come up on YouTube, and you'll kind of see it after it's been cleaned up. So, but it was a crazy existence. Not only did we live in something we never thought we would live in before. And if you live in a van down by the river, trust me, it wasn't as bad as what this is. So you probably live in something more luxury. But not only that, but I was working my brains out. Like I would work a minimum of 12, most of the time an average of 15 to 17 hours a day, basically as many hours as they would throw at me. And it still wasn't enough. We still at the end of the month were under. So we were sinking more and more. We had built this big house somewhere else, and we had to leave that. And that was like $6,500 a month just for that. Then you try to have rent somewhere else and food and all that, pay bills and all that. And it just what we weren't making it. And so, so she didn't want to work, hadn't worked with the children previously, goes back to work, working overnight as taking care of folks, right?
yeah, not what I got my degree in, but it was the safest alternative to make we needed $1,000 extra just to make all the minimum credit card payments, you know, so that they weren't calling us trying to take things, right? And so, you know,
but that was just so we could make one payment.
Taking care of the elderly. So those of you who do that for a living, I feel you. It's a hard job.
Yeah, it was not something I had envisioned that I would create for my wife, right? Where she could go and hang out with people that were elderly and change their diapers and such, right? That's not the glory that I had imagined for my queen. And so we're in this moment, right, where I'm just going, oh my gosh, what is going on? How did we get here? This is not what I imagined. And not seeing a way out, right? I looked at the idea of, let's get into it. We've done some real estate in previous parts of our life, and well, that just wasn't accessible. You know, capital, can't get a loan this time of year, right? Well, what about a franchise? Well, you know, the cheapest franchise I could find was like 25 grand just to start it, right? And that was a cheap one that wasn't guaranteed to make a ton of money. And that's just the baseline, right? So, and there were some other things I looked at. And so Natalie, in the meantime, kept coming back to me going, hey, how's it going? Just checking in with you, right? She's continuing the relationship. She's perfect at that, right? She didn't say, hey man, what about network marketing? She was like, hey, how are things? How are you guys doing? What's going on? Checking in, building, continuing that relationship. And then she might ask about an oil if we tried that sample or whatever. And so, and each time she would check in more and she would see where we were at, and that would determine what information she gave us. And she gave us this information about or me anyway. And I was so desperate at that time that I finally started to look at it and other network marketing opportunities. So I didn't just look at doTERRA. I was looking at 3 at the same time. And I kind of dove into all 3 to kind of say, okay, which one is the right one for me? Well, let me just tell you what I found is I found a product that was super useful, that people really, truly needed, and that they wouldn't go without once they understood the value of it, right? That was like amazing to me, because there are so many other products that I was always trying to convince people that they needed. And then at the first sign of, you know, spending money that they didn't need to spend, they would just bail out of it, right? So it was a lot of work, right? I was I was always trying to convince people of that. So this product was, I found that if people just got a little bit of education and they jumped onto the product, that it just locked them in. They were just like, I don't care, you get put a gun to my head, I'm not giving this stuff up because it's that valuable, right? Then the other thing I found was that that when I dove into the company itself and the ownership, I found they had a mission and a purpose that was bigger than selling essential oils. It was bigger than them. It was bigger than even their existence, right? And their existence on this earth. And it was a mission truly that had the potential, right? Now remember this beginning, so it was still the potential, right? To change the planet, right? Not to just change individual lives, but to change whole families, that would change whole communities, that would continue to change other communities, that could really reverberate on the world. And I caught this vision of that, and I thought, holy smokes, man, this could be huge, right? It's still like essential what? I'm not totally sure what that is, but it could be like a huge. And so the other thing I noticed was, so we have really good retention, right? People love the product. We have a really good company with a really good vision and with really good values as their starting point. They didn't just go, hey, let's do network marketing and like go find a product. They already had this mission vision, and they said, what if we could find the most amazing essential oils on the planet that don't already exist, right? So they already had this big mission. They pull in the idea around a vehicle of something that could change people's lives just as a product. But then when you look at what the product does as it gets into people's lives, right? Then the other thing that I noticed that I loved was, I thought, wow, okay, they're using, again, network marketing. So this idea of residual income, which I knew because I've had dinner with Robert Kiyosaki in a previous life at another event or whatever that we were at years and years ago. And I had listened to him speak, and I had been around all these people that just constantly talked about residual income. So I knew I wanted it, but I was like, how am I? I'm not really one of those guys, right?
How to get it is the question, right?
How do I
want
get
it, but how do you get it?
and I knew it was that all the wealthy people in the world who were doing stuff that, you know, some people do great things with their money, but there was a lot of wealthy people doing things that I felt like, man, there needs to be more of us out there doing amazing things for good in the world, and that money could be an amazing tool for that, right? And I wanted a certain lifestyle, right? I just wanted to get away from this craziness that we were in, the rat race, and I wanted something that would allow me to make choices instead of choices being made for me. And so I saw all these pieces coming together, and I could see that this company had taken this model in to create residual income, and they had all the perfect ingredients like nobody else had. Perfect retention, super mission, integrity, multiple owners, all centered around a specific cause, and all these different ingredients that you won't find. And it was like the perfect storm. It still is. I still would challenge you to find a company that has all of these perfect ingredients. And so I saw that, and I started to catch on to that, and I just had some hope. And I noticed that if I served people with it, it made a difference for them, but it also was a win for me. And I just held on to that. And I didn't know up front, like all the details, how it all worked, if it was going to work per se, but I knew that much, and I held on to it. And then what happened?
I actually saw that the oils worked. Oh my gosh. Oh, I was thinking, my husband is doing another network marketing company, whatever, so be it.
She supported me.
I said, you can do that. I'll support you, which really meant I would do nothing. But then he kept kind of, pushing the oils at me, and I was like,
I didn't push hard.
Just shut up about the dang oils,
Suggestion every once in a while.
Oh, so, but I had consistent headaches happening at that point in my life. And I think that's probably from
what do we call that?
Head tension.
Distress?
If you see tension on the website, it's talking about a headache most likely, but you can't really say that. So
these statements have not been
reviewed by the FDA.
Yeah.
So I started using Deep Blue actually for that, because we didn't have a lot of the options that we have now. But Deep Blue oil actually helped mine to be less crazy, and I could function. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is good, because I might actually see that I can not be totally mean all the time because I'm hurting. And so, yeah, once that started happening, I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to tell James that these oils are working. And I had one other massive experience where my toddler would not take a nap, and Serenity on his spine and on the bottom of his feet, and it would like he would sleep and he would actually wake up happy. And like if I didn't use that, it was like, you know, Frankenstein every day. And so basically those two stories, and I was like, wow, I got to bite my tongue. Like, this is the deal. This stuff works. And if there's other moms out there who have a headache or tension in their head, or have a toddler who won't sleep, then I have to help these people because I was like them. So that was kind of
this, now we're a team, we work together. Most of the time we still kill each other once in a while because we're married, right? But
Truth hurts.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say we're like, you know, all of a sudden the world has totally transformed us into these perfect people, because we're definitely not. But we have experienced an amazing transformation in our lives and in our lifestyle, so much so that my kids are confused when other people's parents go somewhere to make money, right? So and they're just like, Dad, can you go somewhere sometime like other people's parents? But you know, what I want you to understand though, if you're on this call, is that we're right back to the perfect storm, right? The time has never been better. Now here's the advantage that you have, right? Back when I jumped into this, yeah, the environment was right, but the tools were not available that we have today. The support, the experience, the developed company, the amazing brand recognition, the place that we hold in the essential oil world, the amount of products that we have, all the accessories, you know, and like I said, the support materials and support upline and people around you and crossline that we just didn't have back then that you have now. So there has never, ever been a better time to jump into this than ever before. And there's some cool, exciting new promotions and things that the company has, and programs that the company has in place just now, that even some of them just launched yesterday, that will give you some incentives and some advantages that we you know, similar to some things that we had back then that haven't been available since then. So on this call, stay tuned in, listen. We're just the beginning. You've heard some amazing speakers, people with experience and great information. You've got many more to come on this, which is why we should get off and listen to them. Listen to the things. Listen for the nuggets that will create the light bulbs that will help you catch a vision for how you, not like how anybody else did this, but how you can do this, how you can succeed with this, and how it will change your life. And as you're on this call, if you don't already, I want you to start thinking about, if I could have a specific, this kind of life or lifestyle or experiences, what would they be? I mean, don't put a limitation on yourself, because we, like she said, we were numb. We were in this place where we were totally in survival, and somebody come to us and said, hey, what if you could have? And we were like, well, who are you? Go away. We're trying to get bread on the table tomorrow, right? And so we had stopped. So if you're that person that has something, that wants more of something you don't have, that you deserve to have, and that you can do great things with, start thinking about what those things are. Wake yourself up, listen to the people we're talking, grab the nuggets, get stimulated, bring that vision back, and start understanding how this vehicle can serve you to serve others, which will in turn serve you. That's all this thing works. This, really in a nutshell, this vehicle, Essential Oils, is simply a leadership and personal development program wrapped up in essential oils in a healthcare model that is so needed and no one else has got. We've got it. You now have access to it. You can do this. I challenge you to do this. And again, exciting speakers coming up. Tune into them and gather the info.
Thanks, Goddards, for offering this for everyone.
Thank you guys so much. Love your energy. I love your story. And I love your sense of humor. Like, you guys, it's always a mic drop when the Bybees take the stage. So thank you so much, guys.